Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today for you guys, there's another MCU review. Today we're tackling Werewolf by Night, which is the first, I guess, MCU feature or big presentation, whatever they called it. And yeah, so this is... this makes She-Hulk look like dirt. Okay, look, you can watch my She-Hulk review and all my other MCU reviews. I've enjoyed most of it so far. I didn't hate She-Hulk. It's fine. But this, you know, it's only 54 minutes, but it felt like 3 hours because of these Disney Plus ads. But I swear to God, this is phenomenal. Like, this is one of the most... It probably is the most underrated MCU thing, period. I mean, no one's freaking... People talk about Thor: The Dark World and The Incredible Hulk more than they do Werewolf by Night. And I get it, right? This is a pretty self-contained narrative, right? It's pretty much all in black and white. Not a whole lot of stuff happens in terms of the grander MCU scope. You know, we're not seeing Thanos again, we're not seeing Galactus or whoever. But what we are getting is essentially a very self-contained and very well-told story that kind of serves as the MCU's first, I guess, second horror thing. You know, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is technically a light horror film. I mean, hell, Sam Raimi effing made it, who of course directed Evil Dead, so I mean, you know it's going to be having some scary elements to it. You can go watch that review if you want to, but this one is maybe not as scary or as, you know, maybe like, you know, in your face with jump scares, but there are jump scares. I gotta talk about the atmosphere though, because from like shot one to shot, you know, the end, one to, well, how many shots there are, whatever, 1,000 shots. This movie effing, like, it drips in atmosphere to the point where, like, you know, okay, they got the aesthetic, right? They got the 1920s, aka, you know, slash 1930s aesthetic, where you got the black and white filter, obviously, and, you know, you get, like, the Bloodstone, for example, the MacGuffin, the big, you know, red stone, kind of like the red Arkenstone, I guess, you know, that is actually red, but everything else is black and white for the most part. I like that. Looks really great. But then you're also getting, you know, a story with Elsa Bloodstone, and you're getting Jack, who turns out is a werewolf by night, right? Wow! But in that you're also getting, you know, I think it's either Man-Thing or Swamp Thing. I think Swamp Thing is DC, Man-Thing is Marvel. They're both effing swamp monsters, and they look the same, so it's whatever. But this is Man-Thing, aka Ted. And, you know, there are a few jokes where, obviously, Jack tells Elsa, yeah, his name's Ted, or whatever his accent is, it's Ted, and she's like, Ted? What? You know, so there's and the joke where Jack tries to blow up the wall with the little grenade thing, I mean, that's funny, but really, it's a pretty dark and grim outing, right? I mean, this is, like, I believe it, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it dropped originally on Disney Plus, like, during the Halloween season, and maybe I'm wrong, but it makes sense that they would do that. Because, yeah, I mean, there are some solid jump scares. Again, the black and white atmosphere is really great. It kind of sets the stage. It is grim. I mean, you're seeing, like, whatever the main guy, Bloodstone or whatever, you know, the dad, father of Elsa, he's kind of like literal effing corpse, and he's moving and talking, and it's pretty actually unnerving, because, like, his mouth is moving and shit, and everyone there is like, all the hunters are like, it's kind of weird, you know what I mean? It's a little bit unnerving. And then you're also getting, you know, the tension, right? There's a lot of shots that are very slow. You know, going from She-Hulk, which was, again, not bad, but it's very fast-paced, a lot of humor, a lot of quick jokes, and really flashy fight scenes and all that, and this is the complete effing opposite. I mean, there are action scenes, and there are funny moments, but this is very much a more mature... And I'm not saying She-Hulk is childish or anything, but when I say mature, it's like they really take their time setting up the world and the mazes that they have to go through to find Ted Man-Thing, right, and kill it. And Jack is, you know, of course, trying to save it. But you're getting Elsa trying to figure out her own story. You're getting Jack with his story and Elsa's family and all these other hunters. So the story is great, and the atmosphere is great. The aesthetic is great. The music is great, right? The tension's really good. A lot of slow shots where you really kind of pan around corners and follow characters. And of course, when Jack turns into the werewolf, right, there's some amazing effing shots. I mean, the one that really stands out to me is where Elsa's in the cage and the camera's slowly panning in on her, and she's kind of like in the corner. She's like, oh my god! She's kind of doing that. I mean, it's really great. You know, the lighting is great. Obviously, it's, you know, black and white lighting, but, you know, you have the flashing and all that shit. Looks really great. But this does something I never thought the MCU would do when this released. Now they've got MA-rated shows, R-rated movies. You know, the MCU has never been for children. It's always been for teenagers and adults. Which in the realm of franchises, kids and teens are technically different by the ratings that are given to film and TV. So with that, you know, teens and adults, yeah, it's great. 13 to 100, whatever. You die of old age, great. Oh, you're 100, great. You can watch the MCU, you know what I mean? So with that being said, this is rated TV-14, and I have no goddamn clue why. Like, you look at Cars 2, right? Cars 2 has literal gun violence, the word murder, kill, death, destroy, annihilate. There's, like I said, there's guns, and it's rated G. Finding Dory has a very blink and you'll miss it sex joke from Dory, PG. I don't know how that effing makes sense. Oh, well, actually, it's fine because they're cars and they're shooting. Doesn't make sense. They're still killing. They're still guns. You know what I mean? The rating board makes no effing sense. Like Raiders of the Lost Ark, that's essentially an R-rated film, and all they did was put some like flame over Renee's head exploding. You know what I mean? That's all they did. So yeah, movie ratings are kind of weird. But this being TV-14 is really freaking weird because I guess maybe the only difference keeping this from a 14 to an MA is A, they didn't want to do an MA, but B, I guess because it's black and white? Maybe? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of, there's a few swear words and all that, but really the violence in here, I forgot how brutal this was. It's not gory like Evil Dead, but there is a lot more blood than you would expect in a typical MCU thing. Like the werewolf bites a guy's ear off and blood splatters. The blood is black because it's black and white. But still, I mean, people are getting their throats slashed, and Elsa shoots a guy in the head with a crossbow, and you see it like go through his chin and after his mouth. I mean, it's pretty brutal shit. You're getting someone's arm chopped off. Elsa slits some, I think it looks like David Bowie. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. I don't know. But she slits his or her throat, and then literally, like Assassin's Creed Origins, fucking like, puts the sword right into her head, and you see it impale and blood squirts out. I mean, the werewolf, there's a really epic fight scene in like a corridor hallway thing where the werewolf's just massacring all these guards that are trying to kill him, and he like literally rips his ribs out, and you see like bone and shit. I mean, it's wild. I don't know how this is TV-14. Again, I'm assuming just because it's black and white and the blood isn't red, which is weird. You know what I mean? Like you watch Star Wars and like some of the blood is red, obviously, but some of the blood is like green or blue, and it's like, all right, well, I guess if blood is red, it's for adults only, but if blood is green, it's for whatever. I don't get that. It's weird. But yeah, I mean, I am glad it did take that brutal turn because, again, you get that horror atmosphere, you get the slow shots and the tension, and then you're pairing that with the actual intense R-rated violence and blood and gore that you would expect from a horror thing like this where werewolves are ripping people apart. I mean, it's brutal, but it fits the tone that they're trying to tell, and I think that's great they didn't hold back. They didn't make it, I really hate when people say the MCU is too kiddie, because again, none of it is for kids, really. I wouldn't let a 7-year-old watch anything from the MCU. It's far too violent, and just filled with blood, sex jokes and drugs and alcohol and all that. I mean, maybe I'm just a boomer, but I guess parenting's gone down the drain. But yeah, it really is interesting to me that they chose to go with this route, and it feels great. I mean, watching it again, it's really effing good. Again, it's not as scary as Multiverse of Madness with the deliberate, scares and jump scares and whatnot, but this really excels at being very well shot. The editing is great. The black and white filter is incredible, and kind of how it transitions at the end where Elsa ends up getting this bloodstone, and she kind of holds it in her hand, and then she kind of becomes in color. Jack and Ted Man-Thing, they're in color at the end too, kind of talking. It's kind of like Rocket and Groot, kind of like Han and Chewbacca type thing, where they're kind of like making jokes and they're kind of talking, and they're good buddies. I like that. I like the fact that Jack is a normal, non-violent hunter, and he's really only here because when he turns into the werewolf, he's a killer, and when he's not a werewolf and he's actually just Jack the human, he's a normal, non-wanting to kill people kind of guy. Like hopefully you and me, well me, but hopefully you. Maybe you're murdering people, I don't know, but you're in the Hunter's Guild, like Skyrim, I don't know. But yeah, it is interesting that they kind of have that almost, Dr. Jekyll and Hyde type, scenario, which is really cool. But yeah, man, I really don't have that many negatives, truly. I mean, it's 50 minutes, so it's not the longest thing in the world, so it's hard to really talk about, so many aspects when it's pretty short. But it's fun. It's entertaining. It builds on the MCU's lore. We're seeing Man-Thing for the first time. We're seeing a new, the Bloodstone family and the actual Bloodstone. We're seeing all these new kind of, facets that are kind of going into the MCU, which we've never seen before. And yeah, you could say that it doesn't really feel like it belongs because they don't mention the Blip or Thanos or the Eternals or Shang-Chi or whoever, So I get that. They're not but they didn't try to do that. They didn't film this. The director didn't go into this, Michael Giacchino, whatever. He didn't go into this going, oh, we need to relate this to everything. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need that to be good, and you also don't need it to make it canon. This is canon. I believe, I think the director, like, people wouldn't shut the fudge up about asking him, so I think he said, I read this in an interview, maybe you know in the comments, tell me, but he said it takes place after Thor Love and Thunder. So, to me, I thought it would take place in the 1920s or 30s, just because of the black and white filter and the fact that they're kind of talking old style and they don't have cell phones or whatnot. Maybe I'm wrong. If you know a direct timeline when this thing takes place, tell me in the comments, because I want to know. But I'm assuming it's old, but then I was also told it's after Thor 4, which is pretty recent in, years in the MCU timeline at least. So I don't really know, but it fits in great. I mean, it adds to like a new kind of eerie horror atmosphere, which again, going right after She-Hulk was really effing crazy. But yeah, this is immaculately filmed and shot and edited. I mean, everything about this pretty much works. I was genuinely looking for flaws, and I'm like, oh, nothing woke, nothing bad. It's just a really macabre, eerie tale. It really gets you in the mood for Halloween, even though we're in freaking January. It gets you in the mood for Halloween or just like spooky things. You know what I mean? Like, it really has that 1920s, like what is it? Edgar Allan Poe, Headless Horseman, old 1920s fable type of mood, you know what I mean? Neil Gaiman shit, that type of thing. And it really does work. Like, it really nails that atmosphere, and it makes you feel like you're not just watching, whatever, Shang-Chi 2, but, oh, there's Shang-Chi's not there, and it's just black and white. Like, no, this has a unique take. The MCU has gotten a lot of hate and flack for being every project is too similar, or oh, everything's got jokes, or everything's goofy now. Like, when's the serious adult stuff? And yeah, like the MCU, it's got the adult stuff, it's got the lighthearted stuff, it's got the action, the drama, the romance, it's got a lot of shit in this franchise, and it really kind of bums me out when people think the MCU is just one specific thing. And yeah, I'll admit, they do kind of follow a specific guideline of stuff. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So I feel like maybe this was around the era where things were starting to get a little bit broke, so to speak. And this one didn't go woke, so they didn't go broke, or whatever. But yeah, I think that it genuinely is a interesting little mini-movie. It fits in right at home with the MCU. Even though it doesn't specifically give a timeline of when it takes place, it feels like it still belongs. It's fun, it's funny, it's brutal, it's action-packed, it's a little freaky at times, and it really gets you in that macabre mood that I said that really, sometimes you watch a Marvel thing and you're like, everything, Black Widow kind of feels the same as whatever, in terms of tone. This tone is completely freaking unique, right? I have never seen an MCU thing, maybe other than Doctor Strange 2 in some sense, that makes sense in a horror or this style, you know what I mean? I think it's really great. So, other than that, man, I got nothing much else to say. I think Werewolf by Night is pretty perfect. I was genuinely looking for a lot of errors and stuff to kind of bash about it for this review. I don't go into these things looking for stuff to hate on, but, I don't want to come up here and be like, yeah, it's perfect, bye! But genuinely, I really didn't have any issues, you know what I mean? This is going to get a 10 from me. This is genuinely, for what it's trying to be, it ultimately succeeds. It is very, very great in what they're doing. They had a great vision, great direction, and I think, for me at least, it came out pretty flawlessly. I think they really nailed it. So tell me down below in the comments what you think about Werewolf by Night. Do you think it's underrated or just, properly rated or whatever? I do think it is underrated. I really don't see a lot of people talking about this or even, like, remembering that Man-Thing is, like, a thing in the MCU. I kind of forgot about Ted, but here we are, so I think we might actually be getting a sequel soon, relatively soon-ish, I hope. That's what I'm hearing. So we'll have to see. Maybe Jack or Elsa or Ted, Man-Thing will show up in Avengers, whatever. But yeah, it is interesting that they chose to do this at that specific time in the MCU, and I think it's great for the most part. So yeah, next is going to be Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Hopefully I'll watch that soon. It's 160 minutes. School is coming up, so I'm going to try to get that in as soon as I can. Then we got the Guardians Christmas special. We got Ant-Man 3, Guardians 3, and I think Secret Invasion next, which I haven't finished. So that'll be... I hear that's also horrible, so we'll have to see. But yeah, I'm excited to continue the MCU review series. Again, we're almost done. We got a few movies and a few shows left. And then you and I will be caught up with the MCU. It's been a long freaking journey. I actually just ordered Loki Season 2 on Blu-ray. So when that shows up, I'll finally be able to watch that. So yeah, I'm excited to continue this trend. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. Tell me down below in the comments what you think about Werewolf by Night. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.